So hello everyone, and welcome back to my studio, the Pottery Corner down on the south coast of England. Hi everybody, we're going to do another glaze kiln fire opening today. Quite a bit in the kiln, can't remember all of it, but I do know that there is the trial bowl of my new glaze, which is a Mayco Elements called Amber Ash. And I shared with you in the previous kiln opening the test tiles for that, which were not terribly inspiring, so it'll be interesting to see on an actual piece what it looks like. So stay with me, stay tuned, we'll dive into this kiln node and see what we've got. Right, now the kiln was cold yesterday, so I know that it's fine for me to handle without gloves. So first things out are more of Kathy's little wedding favours. So these are more of the little wedding favours that she's making. This one has got True Celadon wiped back on the text. That one's got Downpour, and this one has Snapdragon, and they are purposefully quite rustic, as Kathy's calling them, rustic little dishes. And as you can see on the shelf behind me, there are more that are waiting to get into the kiln, and I know she needs them in a couple of weeks' time, so I need to get on with that. And in fact, once this kiln is empty, I shall be literally just reloading, ready for it to go on the next sunny day. Oh, and the sunny day, in case you don't watch my videos regularly, we have solar power here, so I try to only fire the kilns on a light sunny day. It doesn't have to be sunny, it doesn't have to be warm, it just has to be light for the solar panels, and then of course I'm not pulling as much electricity from the grid, it's coming from the solar. So better for the planet, better for my pocket, better all round. Next piece out. Now Sarah's been working on this. This is going to be a mirror, so she's going to put a mirror in this section here. And actually this was a design shape that one of my previous students, Emma, made, and Sarah has taken the inspiration from a photograph on the studio wall. So I have sort of like a wall of fame, if you like, of students' pieces, so that when new students come in, they can take inspiration from previous pieces that other people have made. So Sarah has put images on here that are pertinent to her and her family. Her daughter likes gymnastics, so this is a little sort of gymnast here. She had arum lilies in her bouquet. Her husband has a Land Rover, and they have a couple of cats, and one of her sons likes baseball. And the other one, you'll see when we get further down the kiln, there is a guitar that's going to hang from here, and I know the other son plays the guitar. So yeah, really nice, and lots of underglazes decorating this. Most of the colour is underglaze, apart from this is Amaco's Cobalt, and the background colour is Amaco's Glacier. So it's quite nice actually, because it's not plain on the background. Lovely. So that's Sarah's. I'm going to be very careful with it. And a large flat piece, so it has been sitting on quite a large pack of silicon sand to stop it from warping and from breaking. So that's good that that's come out safe and sound. Let's get this shelf out. Okay, right, what have we got in here? There's lots actually of different pieces in here made by different people, which is quite nice. This is one of mine, and is standing on a cookie, but luckily not stuck to it, although it has just taken the very edge of that off, which is a bit of a shame. Right, this is one of my confetti bowls, and may end up life as my husband's cereal bowl, depending on whether he likes it or not. Oh yes, he is rather particular about what he eats his cereal out of. So this is one of a thrown bowl that I've thrown. This on the back is Amaco's Obsidian, which is beautiful when it's applied correctly. Lovely strong black. And then inside I've done mixing clear, so the background colour is my clay body colour, and confetti chips. Now, Jeanette, Far Forest Ceramics, your Instagram made me laugh. So Jeanette at Far Forest Ceramics makes her own glazed chips by using an acetate. Well, I use an acetate for mine, but she really goes for it. She has small, medium and large chips in each colour glaze. Gosh, can you imagine? Can you imagine making your own glazed chips and then putting them into separate pots? I mean, I'm just trying to think how many glazes I've got. And at the last count it was 80, and I've bought quite a lot since then. So I expect I've got over 100 glazes. So I've had a small, a medium and a large in each glazed chip in every glaze colour. That would be 300 pots of glazed chips. Wow, yeah, no, we're not going there. So I just have one pot of glazed chips. Just made me laugh when I saw the Instagram feed. I thought, crikey, don't get me started on that, really. I admire you, Jeanette, I really do, but goodness me, what a lot of work. So this is just my one glazed chip pot. And on the second coat of the Amaco Mixing Clear, whilst it's still slightly wet, I literally just pop it over like hundreds and thousands, like you would on a cake, except it's glazed chips. And then it kind of makes its own pattern dependent on who's been using what colour glaze. But actually, each time that I do it, obviously you get a slightly different mix of colours, but each time I do it, somehow it seems to work. So I really like that. And if you've seen my plates, I made some dinner plates with half and half with sea salt and the glazed chips. Actually, they all match quite well. So there's clearly a sort of a bedrock of glaze colours that we use in the studio. So they all tend to come out with that sort of bedrock colour on them. So yeah, that's really nice. And we'll see whether my husband wants to use that for his cereal. If not, it might find its way somewhere else. Next out, what should we do? This is one of Claire's pieces. So again, you'll have seen Claire's things coming out over the last few weeks. I don't know what the glaze combination is on here. Nice though, whatever it is. I'll have to ask her, and again, I'll have to pop it in the comments section once I've got hold of her. I had it standing on a cookie, which is just as well, because as you can see, the glaze is very thick. Now, I do know that she's been experimenting with the flowing Amaco glazes, so I'm pretty sure that's got oatmeal on it somewhere. I don't know what it's over, but just on this base part here where it's really, really thick, there's almost like a purple bloom, which makes me think that that has definitely got oatmeal on it somewhere along the line. So yeah, nice, pretty. Just a little pot, but very pretty. She did put a little bit of texture on it when she was turning, but obviously a very thick glaze has negated some of that texture. But nonetheless, it's very nice and it's very pretty. And if I ask Claire, I'll pin the glaze combination onto the comments so that you can see what that was. This again is one of Claire's, a thrown vase, pretty, and she's put a little bit of texture with some hearts, so that's just a heart cutter pressed in. Actually really pretty, and because she's used celadon glazes on here, of course you can see that texture, so it's really nice. That'd be lovely with a little vase of roses picked out of the garden. Really pretty. Again, I'm not entirely sure of the glaze combination, but from looking at it, I would say that that is Amaco's ice underneath, and that's probably got some seaweed on it from the look of it. But again, I will ask Claire and pop it in the comments. But really, actually, it's really nice in the throat. Very nice. Yeah, lovely. Nice shape, unusual. But that's what happens when you throw things sometimes. You get nice, unusual shapes. So yeah, very pretty. Like that. Next out, this is one of mine. Oh, good. Last week's video, goodness me, did we have a Dremeling nightmare. And lucky for me, I've double cookied that. So that's the bottom cookie, which actually is clear, although has blown glaze across the top of it. But this is sitting on a cookie, as you can see, which has caught all the drips. So yes, I shall be Dremeling again. I'm starting to get white finger from Dremeling, so I try not to do too much of it. But yeah, it's not good for you to do lots of Dremeling. And Nat from Mud Magic. Yeah, angle grinders. Frighten the living daylights out of me, but a good thought. But for somebody who's not particularly good with power tools, yeah, angle grinder, definitely not for me. I can just about cope with controlling my Dremel. So this is one of mine. I'm just going to have a look in my trusty glaze book as to what the glaze combination is on here. So it's got, yeah, okay, that's interesting. So it's got underglazed bits on this spiky texture and teal blue underglaze on the rounds, which I've wiped back, which you can probably see best on there. And then over the top of all of that, I've put Mayco Jungle Gems Jazz Notes, which we were talking about Jungle Gems in the last video. I do take it much too high, and this is why I have such a problem with it sticking to cookies, because I am taking the glaze temperature a couple of 100 degrees higher than the recommendation on the actual pot. But, you know, live on the edge, live dangerously. But that's quite sweet, isn't it? Quite like that. Really nice. So I'll be able to get the cookie off of there with a bit of patience and dremeling. Right, next out. This one is much more successful, and it actually is Joyce's. So this is Joyce's, one of Joyce's poppy heads. Very nice shape, very nice spines on here. And I'm now going to have to remember the glaze combination, which is Amaco's Ironstone one coat as a base over everything. And then Amaco's Iron Yellow over the top, 2 coats. And then just on the fins, we've used Ancient Jasper. Really pretty. Isn't that pretty? I love the way that the glaze flows on there. Really nice. Yeah, that's a good one. So I'm sure she'll be pleased with that. And for me, no dremeling. Thank you very much. Next, there is another seed pod. This one is mine. And again, I've double cookied it, not taking too many chances. And lucky for me, I did. That cookie is fine. This one has stuck to the bottom, tra-la, and is actually full of glaze, if you can see the texture on the cookie. So yeah, more dremeling, more white finger. This one is Mayco's Aztec Jade, which for me can sometimes come out a little bit matte. So interesting that hasn't done that on here. It's nice, and it's very nice and shiny. And on the spines, I put my old friend Ancient Jasper, and that is why it's run, because I've put Ancient Jasper on the spines. So my fault, but I knew it would, so I have stuck it on a cookie, so it won't take me too much to get that one off. But again, a nice seed head, very nice and glossy green, very pretty. So that is that one. Next, Sarah is starting to make a set of chess pieces. Oh, and he's stuck. Oh no, he's all right. Take him off. Right, so this is the king, and this is the queen for her chess pieces. And there are castles. I think these are the castles, so these haven't been bisque fired yet, but these are the castles. And then we've made some moulds for her to make the pawns and things, and these are waiting for bisque firing. We're hoping to get that done sometime, hopefully this week if we get good weather. So that's good. Now, I was talking about the Amber Ash, and I suspect you'll remember me saying, what on earth did I buy that for, having brought out that textured tile, and this one being on a flat tile rather than a textured tile. So this is 3 coats of Amber Ash on a textured tile and 2 coats of Amber Ash on a flat tile. And I said it was interesting how the colour was pulling just on the edges. So I thought, well, come on, you've bought a glaze. I do often buy glazes in these 4-ounce pots to give them a try, because obviously the glazes are expensive. This particular pot of glaze to me including an allowance for the carriage, was £7.15. So, you know, they're not cheap. And this is not going to cover terribly many pots. So I do tend to buy a small pot if I'm not sure that I'm going to like the colour. So that's quite a good tip. And yeah, well, what can I say? I'm quite astounded by that. So this is just a little bowl that I've thrown on the wheel that I thought, I don't know what to do with it. Let's stick some amber ash in it. So I did. Look at that. Look at that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Isn't that beautiful? I hope the camera lights are catching all the detail in that glaze. Isn't that amazing? Well, folks, that's obviously why I bought this glaze. Wow, wow, wow. Isn't that lovely? So on an inside surface, really beautiful. And I'm really impressed with that. And then what I did with this on the outside, because obviously I thought it might flow. So it's got about a centimetre and a half, maybe 2 centimetres of amber ash on the rim only. And then underneath that I have used Mayco's Glowing Embers, which I quite like. I quite like the colour of this mustard colour. It's quite a nice, it's not bright yellow, it's quite a nice mustard colour. But the eagle eye view will already have seen there's a couple of quite large pinholes that have gone over, so they're no longer sharp, but there are 2 pinholes on there. And also, hurrah, more white finger. That is standing, as you can see, on 2 cookies. And on this side of the cookie, which again I hope the camera is picking up just here, that Glowing Embers has come down. So that'll be another little bit of dremeling, but I'm pretty sure that once I knock that with a hammer I might well be able to get that off. But the amber ash, yum, 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 yum. What do we think? Stick it in the comments, let me know. Do you like that? Quite nice, isn't it? Pretty. Anyway, we shall see what happens with that when I do the dremeling. This is one of Helen's pieces. So, somebody she knows likes a very large mug of tea. Well, I have to say, this is the largest hand-built mug that anybody has ever made in my classes. So, congratulations, Helen. It's an absolutely huge mug. I would think that there's, whoa, I wouldn't be at all surprised if there's nearly a litre in there. So, yeah, pretty good. So this is hand-built. On the inside we have Amaco's Marigold. On the outside we have made Tangelo. So it isn't Tangelo. We have made the Tangelo. So Amaco have this lovely thing where they sell people combinations of things, and if you've watched my top 10 glazes video, you'll know that you can mix. In fact, I think there's another video about mixing and layering glazes. So Tangelo is 50-50 mixed, not layered, mixed together. So you weigh the glaze with scales and you put in, say, 20 grams of Snapdragon and 20 grams of Marigold and mix the 2 together. And the reason for weighing them is, of course, if you need to, if you run out of glaze for the piece you're glazing, you can then make more glaze that's the same colour, which is why you're weighing it. So this is Tangelo made with half and half Snapdragon and Marigold. And then Helen has put underglaze notes on for her friend who likes music. So yeah, really lovely. I'll tell you what, she drinks more than one of those a day with a caffeinated drink. She's going to be high as a kite, isn't she? How wonderful. I love the notes. The notes have come out really lovely. And Helen was a little bit worried that they might be obscured by the glaze, but no, they've come out lovely. Really, really pretty. And a nice little motif of notes on the handle. So yeah, really good. Well done, Helen. That's lovely. Next out of here is one of my mugs. And this probably needs a little bit of explanation, although I won't go too detailed into it. This is for my surgeon. So my surgeon is called Avi Agrawal, and he is one of the breast surgeons at Queen Alexandra Hospital in Portsmouth. And 10 years ago, so we're coming up, well, not quite 10 years ago, but we're coming up to the 10th anniversary in August. Avi Agrawal saved my life. So I thought for this year's 10-year checkup, and indeed last checkup, so it will be the last time that I see him for follow-up, I would make him a couple of mugs with boobs on. Well, you know, you've got to do it, haven't you? Don't you think? Always got to do it. So this is one of them with his name on. The outside glaze is Amaco's Weeping Plum, and the inside glaze, again, this is a mixture. So it's 50% Snapdragon and 50% Snow mixed together to make this beautiful pink. And I have used this before, so I know what colour it comes out. But it's, you know, the mug's supposed to look like a boob, and then it's got a pair of boobies on it. I mean, you know, if you're going to use a booby motif, you might as well make the mug look like a booby. So anyway, that's what that is. There's another one. It might be further down, so we might get to that. Right, let's get this shelf out. Right, okay, first thing out on this level are just another couple of Kathy's little dishes. As I say, there's quite a few more of those to come. This is Philippa's. So Philippa has joined the free flow team. So people that come to the studio use the studio and equipment, but don't have any tutoring from me. So they're called free flow sessions. And if people have attended courses here, either in throwing or in hand building, they can use the studio without me here. So it's a good way of actually people being able to use the studio and treat it as their own and have all the equipment that they need without purchasing it themselves. So this is Philippa's. Really lovely combination, this one. So this is Mayco's Sea Salt on the inside with Mayco's Moonscape on the outside. And if you don't paint the Moonscape too thick, it stays blue. If you paint it thicker, it goes sort of more white and more like the surface of the moon. But actually, if you only put 2 coats on, you get this lovely blue. So that's a pretty little mug. And obviously she was feeling in that sort of a way, because she's also made this mug, although it's slightly larger, so improving her throwing skills, which is good to see. And again, sea salt on the inside, Moonscape on the outside. Lovely. Those are really nice. And there's a jug of Philippa's as well in the same way. So yeah, lovely. Pretty, isn't it? I was saying about it being a bit thicker. Where it's a bit thicker, it goes this sort of creamy colour, that Moonscape. Yeah, lovely. Pretty little jug, really nice. Those are a lovely little set, so I'm sure she'll be pleased with those. Next out, yes. Now, last time on the video, we were talking about George and his calligraphy, and his pot is still waiting to get into the kiln, which I showed you last time. But he used one of my little practice pots, which was bisqued and just happened to be lying around. So he has just done a little bit of calligraphy on the outside of this pot, which I have then, actually it had mixing clear on it, so he's gone over the mixing clear, and I've just put some cosmic tea dust. And I know it's really difficult to show you on the camera how shiny that cosmic tea dust is, but it actually is a really lovely iridescent glaze. I love it. So I hope that somewhere along the line with all these studio cameras that's picking up that lovely almost iridescence from the cosmic tea dust. I just couldn't bear not to glaze it. It was too pretty, so I thought, well, we'll have a sort of a Japanese feel to it by using something that they may have used on a tea bowl. So yeah, that's really nice, that sort of Temaku cosmic tea dusty look, really pretty. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how his piece comes out. Claire has been doing some test tiles, so she did it properly. I mean, you know, come on, she did it properly. She threw on the wheel a bottomless ring and then cut them down so that she's got these beautiful test tiles. There's only one slight problem with them. She stamped, oh no, you can see it, she stamped the number actually on the tile itself. I would recommend stamping it on the bottom because it's sometimes difficult to see. You can just see that that is number 3. I don't know what these combinations are, but when I find out I shall be using them. Look at that, that's gorgeous. Really pretty. Again, that's definitely got seaweed on it. You can tell from the puddle at the bottom. So I would say that's probably, it might be Blue Midnight with seaweed over. Again, I'll have to ask Claire what they are and I'll come back to you on those. I have stood them all on cookies, which is just as well because as you can see, they are flowing. That one is number 4. She did put texture on one side and you can just see the texture on there, although not terribly easily. But it's a good idea for the students to make their own test tiles because then obviously they can use their own combinations. This one to me looks like that, so clearly that is what that was, and that is test tile number 1. As I say, that's definitely got some oatmeal on it. Actually really nice. It might be blue rutile with oatmeal over, pretty, or it might be iron yellow with oatmeal over. Yeah, really nice. I like that. Very pretty. And there's one more. Again, good job I put them on cookies. Look at this. I mean, there's a big pool of glaze either side. That one is number 2. Very pretty. Very nice. Those are lovely. I mean, they're lovely as articles themselves, but as she built up her library of glazes, she'll have her own test tiles, which I think is a very good idea. This is one of mine. I was just using up the glaze that I had mixed together from Avi's mugs. Oh, actually the other Avi mug is still on the shelf. So this is just a little bowl. I've done the same combination, so that is Amaco's Weeping Plum on the outside and 50-50 mix of Snapdragon and Snow on the inside. That's just a little bowl. This one, whose is that? Oh, that's Philippa's, right, okay. Don't know what that is. That looks like glowing embers. Yeah, nice pinholing in there. Yeah, it is a temperamental glaze, glowing embers, and that is a shame because, you know, there's not a lot you can do about it. We could try popping a bit more glaze on and sticking it back in and seeing what happens. But yeah, no, that's a nasty surface. And I had that before with glowing embers when I put it on my husband's dinner plate. And in the end, I added so many layers of glaze that it takes about half an hour for the plate to get cold if you put it in the oven to warm it up, which is quite useful for a dinner plate, but it's got so much glaze on it. So my advice to her will be to put some glaze over the top of that because that's a bit disappointing. Not sure what's on the outside. That might be Mayco's White Opal from the look of it. Quite nice where it's mingled on the rim at the top. But you can't get away from that, can you? That's really a nasty surface. So we might try reglazing that one. And then on this level, the last 2 things are, again, my confetti glaze. So this is Amaco's Obsidian on the back with hundreds and thousands confetti glaze on the top. And as I was saying, you know, I might have used a different sprinkle, but they do come out looking quite similar, not exactly the same. And there's a third one of those, which again is very similar in colourway, and again obsidian on the back. So we'll see which one hubby likes the best out of those. There's a cookie on the bottom of here that I just need to get off, but of course it's not going to come off while I'm talking on camera, so I'll knock that one off in a minute. Right, next shelf, last shelf actually. Okay, so down in the bottom here in the bowels of the kiln there are a couple of Jane's leaves. So if you've watched my videos before, you'll know that Jane likes to make these leaves. We have glazed them in the round and they've got a ceramic stand on them, which, you know, as is usual, have stuck, but I will be able to get those off just by pulling them off with pliers. Sorry, that is Amaco's Sky. She's going to hang them in the garden, which is why they've got a hole in them. So she's going to put them on a cord in the garden to blow. in the wind. And that one, oh, see, that one's come off. When they come off, like I've said many times before, you have to be extra especially careful because they leave these shards. So you just need to make sure that your fingers aren't near them. So yes, pretty. That Amaco Sky is always, again, a celadon glaze, so it nicely shows your texture. And these are slightly shaped, so they'll look nice when they're strung up on a cord or fishing wire or something, and then they'll just dance in the wind. There's a couple of, yeah, don't ask why, a couple of Christmas. Now I'm either extremely late, being as it's May, for Christmas last year, or extremely early for Christmas this year, but I was just playing with some little dishes, and they probably sat in my waiting to be glazed pile for quite a long time. And then they've probably waited quite a long time waiting for kiln space. So yeah, these are just a couple of little dishes with sort of Christmas motifs on. And this is the fabulous Amaco's Rainforest, which I love. Beautiful. A nice textured roller. That's actually a commercially bought one from Pastry Made, which come from Poland. But I like them because they have deep texture. Which is not only good for cookies but good for clay, but I wouldn't use the same roller for the two activities. It might not be quite so nice, but yeah, so that's Rainforest. Again, same thing, these are just press moulded little bowls, very sweet. And all that's left, apart from Kathy's little dishes, of which there are a number, is the guitar that's going to hang down from Sarah's mirror. So as I was saying, this is the piece that's going to actually hang from the bottom. So I think it's Magnus. I might be wrong. I think it's Magnus that plays the guitar. So she's made this little guitar. That's rather lovely. Interesting glazes on there. Deep fire brick. There's a little bit of obsidian, a little bit of palladium. So yeah, really nice. And it does actually look like his guitar because she brought a picture in. So yeah, that's really nice. Lovely, lovely. So she can put that one together. I'll get Kathy's dishes out later. So a few shout outs. Let's see who's been messaging me this week. Right, got my trusty glasses just so that we can have a look at the messages this week. Before I do that, I did manage to get my hands on the new 2023 stoneware glazes from Mayco. So these are all those little 4-ounce pots, this size, of the 12 new Mayco glazes. So I haven't really had time to play with them yet, but I did have a sort of a let's just test them out on a piece. So I've put the numbers all the way around with a underglazed pencil and on the base. So I'll get that glazed and then we can have a look at it in more detail. So yeah, interesting. Whenever the new glazes come out, it always takes a little while for them to filter down and everybody seems to be scrabbling to get hold of them. So it'll be interesting to see out of the 12 which ones become the new favourites. But I have noticed that Mayco are putting out on Instagram a lot of layering combinations using these glazes. So they've obviously picked up that Amaco do such a good job of having their glazes layering and mixing. So it'll be interesting to see how these go. Some of them are more sort of matte finish, some of them are gloss, some of them are crystals. So it's quite nice to have a mix in the box. And as I say, it's quite nice to actually just have the 4 ounces to give them a go. So I'll report back on that. But if you haven't got yours, net yours yet, I've got mine, so we can see how they come out. Right, shout outs this week. So this is from Fiona Tomlin, and she said, it was fantastic to watch your latest kiln opening video and the wonderful pictures of Bridport, etc. I lived in Bridport many years ago. In fact, she met her husband there, and we both love exploring the brilliant Jurassic Coast and walking much of the coastal path from Lyme Regis to Bridport over the wonderful Golden Cap. It brought back many wonderful memories for us both, so thank you. Thank you, Fiona. Yeah, so the last video I popped on the end a little bit of footage of our trip to Dorset, not very much, don't want to bore you to death, but it really is a beautiful part of the world, and I mean, obviously it's a World Heritage Site. The coastline is a World Heritage Site, and there are many beautiful villages and places to visit in Dorset, so we go quite often with the caravan. On a pottery note, I've attached a picture of one of the rhubarb leaf bird baths that I made for a friend here in Melbourne. So she's clearly now in Melbourne, which is an awfully long way away from Bridport. So, so that's quite interesting. So she is a wonderful wildlife photographer with an absolute passion for birds, especially our native superb fairy wren. The bird bath resides at the front of her property and has become quite a talking point for visitors, so much so that I've been asked to make 2 more. So thanks again for showing us the wonderful tutorial, with best wishes from Fiona Tomlin. So thank you, Fiona, for sending me this. I have to say my printer decided it wanted to do something funny with the colour, but we have got the gist of it. And this is obviously this special bird, this super fairy wren. Isn't that lovely? Really lovely. And I'm not surprised that she's been asked to make 2 more of those. So yeah, lovely. And that's been made from the How to Make a Bird Bath from a Rhubarb Leaf tutorial. So I'll stick a link on the end of the video if you've not yet seen that one. There's a whole step-by-step tutorial on how to make that. So if you want to check that out. This one is from, I think it's from Helena. Let me double check that. Oh, I haven't actually even printed that out, have I? Because I know it's from you, Helena. So it's from Helena Wick-Tawson. And last video, I showed you the bisque version of these. Well, they're now through the glaze firing. In fact, these pictures came in on the day that last video was published. So yeah, these are they now finished, and really beautiful they are too. This one's really lovely, showing the glass detail on the mop head. So thank you for sending me those, Helena. As I say, now we've gone into psychedelic pink with my printer, but this is actually the hydrangea head on the stalk, or the metal cane. So those are lovely. So really nice to see the finished article, and indeed the 6 finished articles, because she has made 6 of them. Yeah, aren't they lovely? Yeah, really pretty. And again, there's a 3-part step-by-step how to make those from scratch using porcelain, and there's a kit in my Etsy shop which has the cutters and the glass and the template. So if you want to follow along with that tutorial, there is actually a kit in the Etsy shop, and the Etsy shop address is in the description box below, so you can find a link through to there. Next, this is from Kathy Matson. It says, I'm an older potter living in the panhandle of Florida. I've been watching your videos for several years now and would like to give back to you in some way and support your channel. Can you please give me information on how to do a contribution and a subscription type contribution, and I would love it if every penny ends up in your pocket. By the way, I'm using your videos to guide me through the monoprinting process. So yeah, you know, I love monoprinting. It's one of my favourite things to do. I actually haven't done any monoprinting for a long time, so I need to get back to doing that. And she says, and I was aware of Mitch Lyons before I found you. So Mitch Lyons kind of sort of started the monoprinting movement on clay, and unfortunately passed away, I think, a couple of years ago now. So Kathy Matson, answering your question, her company's called Matson's Marvellous Mud. Isn't that lovely? So Kathy, I have already replied to you, but there is such a thing as the super thanks button on YouTube, which is in the row of icons where the like button is. And it's just got a $ in it, and you can make a donation to me, either from a tutorial or from a kiln opening video if you found something useful and you wanted to just say thank you. So you can always just drop me a little donation there, and it does reach me. I don't have a Patreon site. I know a lot of the American potters use Patreon. We don't really use that in the UK, so it's difficult to sort of lead you across to the Patreon site. But yes, it's really nice when people do make a donation, and on the screen I'm going to put up those people who have made a donation to the channel in April. So thank you, heartfelt thank you. Big or small, it's really appreciated by me when people just put a little note on saying thank you for the tutorial and the inspiration and sharing your ideas, etc. So Kathy, thank you very much for your email. It's always lovely to receive something like that. And the last one to this week is from Virginia Corley. Now, where are you? Oh, she's in Cornwall, which is right down the end of the country. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So Virginia Corley also has had a go at the hydrangea heads. So she says, I am pleased with my first one. Tomorrow a few more as my daughter wants them. Yeah, that always happens, doesn't it? They see something nice that you're making and then they want them. I shall try and make a lace cap. I taught ceramics for 40 years. My goodness, so I find this so refreshing. Thank you for such a clear and helpful tutorial. She uses BE90 CEO glass, self-taught and loves creating. And it says, if ever you come to Cornwall, we are between Padstow and Wadebridge in a pretty village called St Izzy. Is it Izzy or Izzy? Kettle always at the ready. So Virginia, be careful what you wish for. You never know your luck. I might find myself with the caravan down in Cornwall one day, and I might just take you up on that kettle at the ready when I'm gasping for a cup of tea. So thank you for sending me this. This is Virginia's poppy head, not poppy head, sorry, beg pardon, poppy head's on the brain. Hydrangea head, really lovely. So yeah, really nice. Isn't that pretty? Lovely. And in fact, there is another picture there. Yeah, really nice. Lovely. A nice texture on the stamp on that one, really lovely. So thank you as always for sending me your pictures when you followed along with a tutorial. As always, it's very busy at the studio, lots of students, lots of work, lots of kiln work, lots of videoing. So it's always busy here and it's always lovely to have your company. I'll pop on the end a couple of playlists for you to have a look at if you haven't seen them before. And I shall see you all, my lovely ones, on the next one. Bye for now.